We've all been there. You're leading your small group, but the discussion feels surface level, and you're wondering, how on earth do I move this conversation from shallow to transformational? Well, today I'm going to give you a practical toolkit to create conversations that really change lives. But first, let's establish something crucial. There's a difference between having chats and discussions in your group and actually having conversations that bring transformation to people's lives. Now, as a small group leader, you're not just having fireside chats, you're wanting people to walk with Jesus and grow in that walk and also build friendships and relationships. So let's troubleshoot some of the common challenges to having transformational conversations. And these challenges are actually not ideas or principles or thoughts, they're people. Well, challenge number one is the dominator, the person who just hogs the conversation, won't let anybody else in. Key principle here: stay calm, stay cool, and do a redirect and say, thanks for sharing, Sarah. Let's hear from someone who hasn't spoken yet. And maybe leave silence, see if someone else pops up. Or if not, go, Joel, what are your thoughts on that? Challenge number two, this is the silent participant. They sit there, don't say a word. So one of the ways you can help with the conversation to draw that person in is not to ask them what they would do about this challenge, but actually give them what I call a service focus question. Hey, based on what you're hearing, Bethany, what would you say to someone else who's going through this particular challenge? How would you serve them? What would you advise them? How would you help them in that moment? So you're asking them not to share what they would do in response, but how they would help someone else. Try that. Challenge number three, the surface level sharing. You get someone who just stays on the surface and that spreads through the whole group. It's just shallow. It's not really getting to the nitty gritty. And I think one way to shift this is to actually say, well, I want to go deeper into this topic tonight. I want to ask you a deeper question, a stronger question. What's one area, and I wanted you to limit to one, where you know that God is stirring something afresh in your heart? And it may be something that happened this week, last month. It might be over the last 12 months where you're in the scriptures or you're hearing from the Holy Spirit. And I want you to share what God's doing in your life over the last 12 months. If you give people 12 months, most people can reach back to find something. If you say the last 24 hours, I go, well, I don't know, I've been busy with a sick child. Get people to go beyond surface level sharing by digging deeper. So here's some advanced facilitation techniques to help you make sure that you're sharing in a way that people's lives are actually getting transformed. Technique number one, share something revealing about yourself. I remember leading a small group and we were going through a men's course that was really dealing with the hard issues of being a man. And we'd kind of got into that area of pornography or watching things that you shouldn't be watching. And I said to my co-leader, my assistant, I'm the pastor leading the group with my assistant leader. I pulled him aside and I said, well, none of these guys are going to share anything if you and I pretend we're holier than everybody else. So I said, I'm going to go first and I want you to go second. You up for it? You got the courage? He said, yeah. So then I shared something from my own life about temptation and lust, broke the ice. The co-leader, my assistant leader shared, and we were off and running. Then people felt, right, this is a safe place. If John's sharing that, if a co-leader's sharing that, then this is going to be a safe place. These are advanced techniques to make it feel like people can share. Technique number two is a strategic silence. When someone shares something significant, allow the room to stay quiet. Don't feel like you have to jump in. If it helps, count to 5 in your head or 3 or 6 or whatever. Do a countdown in your head before you say something. Just create space to think and respond. This is where silence is helpful to you as a leader. Technique number 3, emotional safety building. Make sure you've got that emotional safety in the room. And the 2 techniques I've talked about already have been vulnerable yourself and allowing silence to linger. Let people linger and don't move on quickly from a person's story. Really help emotional safety. And another way to really help emotional safety is active listening. when someone shares, to use these great phrases like, tell me more, unpack that. Or here's a great 2-word question that I use in coaching. What else? And let people unpack and unfold their story in a way where you affirm them, you encourage them, and they'll feel like their group is trustworthy to share this with. And technique 4, there's a spiritual redirect. When conversations get stuck, you can do a redirect of, where is God in all of this? How might this challenge be preparing you for something God has planned? It's a couple of questions. One question I love that someone used on me once was, where is God for you? I mean, that question opened up a whole spectrum of understanding the work of Jesus in my life. It was asked in a cafe, on a footpath, sidewalk, next to a cafe, and they popped that question, where is God for you? And it just made me ponder and think. And I had an experience, an encounter with the Lord that was transformative right in that moment. So don't be afraid to use the spiritual redirect. So here's a few action steps for your next small group meeting. 3 things you can implement in your next group meeting. Action step number 1, start with a spiritual temperature question. If you want to dive into the deep end of the pool, try this. What's one way you've sensed God moving in your life in the last month? You're really making it, wow, this is real, this is regular, this is my life. What's God been doing in my life? In the scriptures, through the Spirit, through the worship, through the preaching, through conversations. How is the Lord moving? Action step number 2, practice the pause. Practice the countdown in your head. 5, 4, 3, 2. Allow pauses to happen in your group. And if someone is kind of struggling with a problem, looking for an answer, don't offer a solution. Pause and then say, what do you think God's up to right now in this for you? Keep the rest of the group quiet. Allow them to respond. Or maybe then you might want to ask someone else in the group who you know is wise, what do you think the Lord's doing here? Or maybe pause, pray with the person. Action step number 3 in your group. This is really important. End with a call to action. Based on tonight's conversation, what's one thing you're going to do different this week, and how will we know you've done it? How will we know you've done anything different this week? Are you going to text someone? You're going to bring it back to the group next time we meet? Ask for a commitment. And I want a commitment from you right now. Why don't you hit the like button and the subscribe button as well? And then jump into this video here. 3 things that will boost your small groups. Trust me, if you're a small group leader or in a small group, this will help you have a healthy small group conversation in your church.